Taking you around Dog Nation in 90 seconds, this is DN90, presented by Dixie Vodka. Score a touchdown at your next tailgate with Dixie Vodka. Made in America, raised in the South. Hello everybody, I'm Brandon Adams, and normally for DN90, I try to do this as kind of the newsman, play it pretty straight here, but the subject of today's DN90 may be too emotional for me to be able to do that because, well, it hits me right where I feel it when it comes to pro wrestling. Let me explain the entire story to you. First of all, Georgia offensive lineman Ben Cleveland, who has been out dealing with an injury now for the last few weeks, made a surprise appearance on the team bus over to the stadium in Jacksonville on Saturday and was among the players to lead Georgia into the stadium on Saturday. A symbolic significance that was noticed by Dog Nation's Jeff Sintel. Here's how Jeff explained that as a part of our Kroger Kickoff on Saturday afternoon. Take a listen.
Main thing we should start talking about right now is big country, big Cleveland, making the trip to Jacksonville. You got to say this, Ben Cleveland was Georgia's maybe most effective offensive lineman early on, either himself or Andrew Thomas. That makes for a stronger Georgia, makes for a better run game, and it also makes me want to almost lose my voice a little bit.
Jeff was dealing with a little bit of a voice issue there in Jacksonville on Saturday, but Jeff's right. The return of Cleveland will pay big dividends for the Georgia offense. Now, Cleveland, despite being with the team in Jacksonville on Saturday, did not play versus Florida, but might play this Saturday versus Kentucky. The reason why we know that is because of what Ben Cleveland put on Instagram, and here's where the pro wrestling part of this comes into. Let me show you Cleveland here on Instagram, and I'll read you his message that Georgia fans will certainly be interested in. Cleveland says, "This speedy recovery was fueled by Copenhagen and Red Bull, and just in time to Stone Cold Stunner Kash Daniel 56 on Saturday with the hashtag Austin316. Now, as a longtime fan of pro wrestling, especially the golden era of the 90s, it's great to see a young guy like Cleveland respecting the legends who've come in pro wrestling past. And if you're wondering why the pro wrestling reference from Ben Cleveland on this subject, it's because Kash Daniel, who Cleveland, we should point out, is jokingly referencing here, Kash Daniel also made his own Stone Cold Steve Austin reference early in the season after celebrating the win over Florida. The video from Daniel is slamming the two water bottles together and then drinking them, much the same way Stone Cold Steve Austin was famous for drinking a slightly different substance going back to his pro wrestling days. We should also point out here that Kirby Smart, when he spoke to the media on Monday, did pump the brakes just a little bit on the guarantee that Cleveland seemed to make there about coming back to play against Kentucky. Cleveland is obviously continuing to go through medical evaluations, but the one thing that everyone can agree on, when Cleveland does come back to play, it's likely good news for the Georgia offense. And the Stone Cold Steve Austin reference, that may just be the cherry on top. DN90 is brought to you by Dixie Vodka, and when I'm fixing to fix a drink, I choose Dixie Vodka. But don't just take my word for it, try it for yourself. Pick up a bottle at your favorite liquor store and check out recipes at DixieVodka.com. Dixie Vodka, made in America, raised in the South. We'll see you again tomorrow for DN90.